Hello all, welcome back to my channel. In this video we will discuss about Singleton design pattern. In ASP.NET Core, Singleton is a particularly relevant in the context of a dependency injection, where the services are registered with a specific lifetime, such as Singleton, scoped, transient, like that. Basically the Singleton, it will restrict the instantiation of a class to the one object. It will provide a single global access point to that instance. Mainly it will use us in caching implementation, logging, database connection management and configuration management, like that. So we'll create one web API project and we'll implement a Singleton design pattern in that. For that I am going to create one web API project. Click on new. I'll take ASP.NET Core web API. I'll give as a my Singleton. Yes, I know. Singleton. Click on next, create. It will create on web API project. I'm going to create one class. Right click, new item. Can give here my Singleton service. My Singleton service. In this method I am going to write one variable like public int count. I'll initialize as a 0 and I will write one method to increment this. Public void increment count plus I'll do. So one more method I will write to return this count value. Public int get count. This will return a count. So let's create one controller. I'm going to create one controller. Right click, add. I'll take ASP.NET my Singleton controller. I'll add my Singleton controller. So in this I'm going to write two methods. One is a get, one is a increment, which we implemented here. To access these methods we'll write two endpoints here. Let's write public, and this is I'll write as a get, http get public, and here will be I action result. I'll use action result get count. Here I am going to return a value. To access that my Singleton service I have to create a object for this. Let's create an object. Now here okay of get count method. Now the initial value will get written. I'll write one more method to increment a value. So this also I'll use a get http get and I action result. This will be like get increment counter, increment count, and I'll not use any parameter. In this endpoint I will consume this my Singleton service clause and I will increment this value by consuming this method. I will increment count variable value. Let's return okay of my Singleton service dot increment value. Okay, since we have this is a void method, it is not returning any value, so I will not use here. Here I will return as a counter is increment, count value is incremented, like that. So I will say like a new message equal to count value incremented, or count value incremented. Now let's execute this. I'll write here routing also, action. Let's execute this. Here I am not implemented any singleton design pattern, so let's see how. Here the each and every endpoint I am creating an object for a class. You can see here each and every time I am creating an object. It is not a singleton design pattern. So now when I use this get count endpoint, if I try to hit, I am getting only the initial value which I initialized here. The value is 0. Now if I am trying to hit this increment value, it is count value is incremented. Now let's consume again the get value. You can say it's a 0, so it is not same object, it is not used. So this is not a singleton design pattern. Let's modify singleton design pattern. For that I am going to create a one interface. Right click, add new item, interface. So in this interface I am going to write these two endpoints. One is a get count and one more incremental. Now this interface I am going to inherit here. For this I interface I will create a dependency injection. In the constructor I am going to use private read only my singleton similar here also I will use a singleton object. So instead of creating each and every time the my singleton service object, I will use a interface object. I'll comment this. Similar here also I will use the same. I'll get rid of this. Now I have to register this interface and implementation in the program.cs. So in the program.cs we have to register like a dependency injection. Now here builder dot services dot add singleton. Add singleton, you can see. interface, my singleton interface and singleton implementation services. So here we registered the my singleton services and my singleton interface. Now we'll execute this. You can see now I'll try to hit this get method. The initial value is 0. Let's increment the value by clicking this. The value is incremented. Let's hit again the get count endpoint. You can see the incremented value is 1. So here it is means the service class, my singleton service class, we are not creating object every time. Is once it is created, it's globally it is accessible. You can try one more time. You can see again it is incremented. You can hit again the get count. You can see here the count value is incrementing. So like this we can implement a singleton. Here along with the singleton we have a scoped transient also. So basically the singleton instance is created and shared throughout the application, application life cycle. Once the execution, if it is stopped, again it will start from the new. So the object will destroy. So mainly this will useful for in the configuration, logging, implementations. When instead of a singleton, if you use a scope, a new instance will created for each HTTP request and shared within that request. Basically this will implement in the database context in the web apps. Along with the singleton and scope, we have one more transient. This will a new instance will create each and every time as it is requested. This is a lightweight stateless services implementation will use it. So this also will be the same in the program.cs. Instead of add singleton, we'll use a add scope. Similar way, add transient. Like this we can use the design pattern, singleton design pattern. Mainly the use of a singleton design pattern, we can create a one object and we can use the global access throughout the application, one instance, until the application lifecycle. So this is how we can implement a singleton design pattern in ASP.NET Core. If you like this video, please subscribe and share. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day.